So now I continue straight away. It's I put alarm again, so I have 33 minutes time before the video ends. And I came back from mountains. I wanted to go. I realized that I have to go away, but skipped my mind. I just had one idea what I wanted to tell a story about. Something about business. My manager had also his business. He was just watching after my business when I was away in mountains. He had his own business, and give me 1 second. I don't want to stop video because it's just I want to tell everything like it comes naturally. But when I was stopping video, I just had something in my mind that I wanted to tell a little story. It was interesting, and about I will have to stop the video. I think I don't like it, but give me 1 second. Listen to music because it's not my style just to stop video and listen to music few seconds. I came back from mountains. I wanted to tell some story. Funny. Sometimes memory just quits like that, and I had one funny story in my mind relating to business, and it is not coming up. Anyway, but I will not give up. I have to learn also to talk naturally on live television. You never know, because I've been actually actor. I tell a part a little bit. No, acting stuff I tell later because it's after I escaped my country and how I found it, everything. But okay, as I'm not remembering right now what I wanted to tell, I'm telling a little bit about martial arts training still. Like. I had my own style of teaching martial arts, and I basically trained them not one by one, one-to-one only, but during the training, even if we had certain exercises, just one-to-one to learn technique. I always say you always have to watch your sides, watch your back. So during a training, any time, any moment, when someone is having their training, two people are doing training, so they could run and hit anyone on the back, not touch, not hit, not hit hard, but just touch, and if somebody got touched, we had to do push-ups on the floor. And it was just to teach them the attention. And even if I concentrate on one certain person only, then they still have to see what's going on around and not to get suddenly attacked from the back. And we had certain trainings that several people attacked only one, and we had trainings when one guy was, I brought the gun, a real gun, emptied gun, I brought on the training, and one guy was in the center of a circle, and like 10 people around and one person center, and everybody's like 2 meters away. And I made the lesson to see how fast this actually gun is, just to make a click, The safety technique, a show that I took off a magazine. I made emptying a control shot outside and show that there is no bullet inside. I showed them that nobody, you have to know how to handle gun, It may be useful in your life, even in martial arts. Nobody is like Superman that you never know when this can be useful. That's a real martial art. You have to learn to have to handle such situations. And so I told him, try to even touch this guy who has gun in the center. And it wasn't possible. 2 meters is too far, even right in the back, because I teach them you have to look legs. You can't look one guy, the center, and I got with the gun. You look like a little bit like face down. You look around so you see everybody's feet. Because they didn't have guns, they just you needed to make sure that they don't which way they move. and you had gun in a hand that just make a click when somebody moves, and it was impossible to even to touch even the girls, it's impossible. The finger is much faster than your body. So if somebody just wanted to move forward, that touch from 2 meters only inside the circles, 2 meters away, somebody with a gun, it was impossible. So it was a very important lesson to them to know what not to do during gun. Don't play a hero from movies, I teach them how to shoot, of course, but not with real gun. I didn't go that far. I had a pellet gun, and we just threw to each other during rolls overs, and we had all kinds of this technique. So I made the training interesting for real life for my students, and of course physical training. Every training in the beginning, just for warm up. Sometimes, not every time, but usually we had 100 push-ups in the wall just for warm up. Sometimes 500. And I trained them, girls included, everybody. There was no discrimination, everybody. Girls did also 500 push-ups, and sometimes better than guys did, and so faster, I mean, because I gave them time. They do on your own pace, but as fast as possible. I didn't give them do it in 5 minutes. I gave them, okay, I didn't give a unlimited time. I said 15 minutes to do 500 push-ups. And when you're finished, you have time to relax. Who doesn't finish on time, he has to just continue training with everybody else tired, And they did as fast as they could. And after, some practice, everybody did 500 push-ups with no problems, Not in one go, maybe 100 at a time, maybe a little bit less and less and less, but everybody did. And, they later told me when they had sport training in the schools, and the school norms were like 5 push-ups and 10 push-ups maximum. So it was just, they said we were just so proud of themselves, my students. So some students even got better than me. I didn't do complete salto. I did saltos, but with touching feet. But some guys with complete salto. And years later, when I already left my country, I got videos that some of my students even jumped from top of trucks, back salto down to floor. So martial art has to develop. That's why I didn't stick to traditional like judo and karate and aikido and wushu, which I studied, but they have too many traditions which don't let develop. Traditions are important if people are just don't know what they do to study right thing, but if people are intelligent enough, and I think that intelligence of humans still develops and they learn faster and more things, they are able to also develop and accommodate martial arts to the local situations, not anymore in ancient times with all the arms tools. So basically I developed my own training style and technique, and I tell that if somebody does better than me, I will adopt your technique, and that was the atmosphere in my school. So everybody was allowed to propose a new technique, and if it wasn't good enough, I explained the why, and everybody was allowed to confront me, say that's not right, but not during the training, or sometimes, but not during, usually later. Just remember something. If you don't understand, ask me later in front of everybody, and ask why you don't want this specific technique, why you don't think it practical. And they came to me and showed to everybody that it could be done differently, or because of that danger or that other danger. And when they weren't right explained, and one girl even came back with better, because we had training for every situation, not only fight completely, but how to jump away from the floor by lying down if somebody attacks you when you're just relaxing, on the nature, on the beach, so how to do very fast stand-ups, and into position, into fighting position, and with rollovers and with jumps, high jumps, and fall over other people, because I came from judo, I did more difficult stuff than judo because I trained myself further. In some technique, especially jumping technique. I jumped when I was younger, before the army. I even jumped on the ground, on beton. Concrete ground over fences, like 2 meter high fences. seems impossible because I wouldn't be able to jump it like sports style, but in martial arts style, I did that onto the concrete ground with rollovers. So I was very well trained, and I of course when I was I had every young guy. Now just 2 seconds I tell about my younger story. I still have time. Before the army, but I will tell later a longer story. But I wasn't always happy. I was a young person, and I sometimes had some problems, either broken love or something. And you know, when I was angry on something and I felt you know, something really bad, instead of going drinking or something, I had a key of a dojo because I was one of good students of training of my school in my town, and the teacher gave me a key, a dojo. I could go anytime there, and sometimes went at night. When I had very bad, I couldn't sleep, I just took my stuff and I went to dojo and I beat the wall. I beat the wall till blood, and I didn't begin from straight to a wall, but I put up the tatami on front of a wall and started little by little, and during months, you know, you let to heal, you start again. Some guys, you know, in Russia later, I saw guys during the travels who, I went to martial arts schools, different places as well. When I traveled Russia, I wasn't just hanging around only nature. I did some learning stuff as well. But some guys, they told me they broke all their arms because they started to do too tough immediately. But I wasn't so stupid when I was young. I did little by little. I let the arms heal, and when I put on the wall some like cartons and started to them, not anymore on soft tatami, and when my arms healed, then weeks later, up to up to the concrete wall, I started to beat, and nothing anymore basically breaks my knuckles, because it takes many years of training, you know. So that was my style, and you know, just to get the anger down, not to drink, you know. It was psychological help, like calming down myself. So I teach my students as well, but not to do with beating wall stuff, because I teach them how to do that. But if I wanted to, they could not to waste time during training, they could do it on their own at home, and some people did. But the jump stuff, I told high jumps we did over each other, and especially I started to tell that one girl showed me as a way to jump up faster, like half a second faster, maybe a little bit less, but faster than anybody else. Jump up from still position. But it was useful only on soft ground, because on hard ground you could have been hurt your I don't know how you call it, your arms. So she showed that, and you know, so it was our style of training, that everybody has right to ask questions and propose their own technique, and that's about the school. And you know, I had to leave my school behind, because when I left my country, I already told that I divorced because of protecting my family, but this is a theme already for another story. I don't want to go into my time after I escaped my country, because it's a whole long story. I'm 20 years, over 20 years I'm not back in my country. I went sometimes, 5 times I've been back to my country, but last time I was 5 years ago, just to see my children, and you know, I wasn't able to, and only once I saw my younger boy. They're all both adults now. I mean, one been studying in Australia lately, not studying, working already, 22 and 20 years now. And another guy is right now, it's in Spain, in university. He's studying also engineering and robotics, and he's smart guy, as I am. So, basically, yes, I still don't remember the story I wanted to tell about the business, so I have some like 18 minutes left for this video to make it a nice and full video. So I'll tell a little story about my studies when I was younger too, before the army, how we did. I started 9 years old in judo. So we did several times a week, not twice a week, like 3-4 times a week. And I remember I didn't really like it in the beginning. But my parents actually said that when once father was still alive, he said when I was older that you actually liked it very much and you always went happily. But as I remember in the beginning, I forced myself. I made a happy face maybe that I want to go, but because it was tough, you know. When I'm 9 years old, go to a judo, and I wasn't the best guy immediately. It took many years of practice and many losses and many injuries. I mean, not hard injuries, but still, you know, judo is judo. You know, you still get injuries. On competitions, we had some guys even broken arms and fingers, and even in our competition, our time, we had broken noses not because somebody hit, but because of head punched on the face by accident, or fingers out of socle, and all these things happen. And we also trained on the forest, so we had like forest running camps. Little town, forest wasn't very far. It was like 2-3 kilometers from our dojo, and we ran into the forest and we did training there. And I didn't like it actually to go out the forest, and because it was tough, you know. But I did, so that helped me in the beginning, and after I began liking it. And when you get anything, first is tough, and after you get better, when you just getting better, you of course you will start like it better. And I didn't like teaching at all. I wasn't very socializing guy very much, you know. We had a lot of fights in school. Because of that. In Soviet time, the school had all the time fights, but I wasn't very socializing guy. I was stupid. I mean, so in that sense that they didn't like me. Everything came too easily for me. I had always very good results in everything, physics, mathematics, but I wasn't studying very hard neither, you know. It just came naturally. I understood things. I listened. I didn't play during the schools, and so maybe that's why they didn't. Other people didn't like me very much. That I had friends, of course, too, but I mean, some gangs, like school gangs, you know, guys who didn't study very well. They didn't like me because it was so easy for me. I got good points on everything, and they called me on competitions on mathematics and physics, and I didn't won any first places. Usually I was always second or third, you know. But because it wasn't my idea. I studied also music. I studied school guitar. I finished the music school as well, on classical guitar, and I had as interest martial arts mostly, and so we had a lot of practice during the school time as well. And that's when you get useful of the martial arts trainings. And finally I was left alone, you know, not the first years in school, but little by little I was left in peace, because you grow and you put people finally in place. But my training didn't end with judo. I said we had a little bit karate training, not right in the beginning. It was very forbidden yet still in Soviet time. And then the Chinese wushu schools came, and we had a couple of wushu teachers who trained on from Chinese already, who've been in our country. And then we went training that as well, a part of judo, a part of karate or the later. And the judo teacher also taught us the basics of aikido. So aikido wasn't forbidden, but it wasn't very well known. You know, we didn't have aikido schools. Judo was in Soviet time the only official ensemble, Soviet sambo. And we were training actually so well that when we had inter disciplinary competition once. Like we judo guys, when I was still young, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, 15 years, like that. Once in a while we had competition, interdisciplinary, like the classical wrestling with judo guys, and they told us the rules of a classical wrestling, but we never did. You know, we just learned the rules before the competition, and many classical wrestling guys, they knew how tough we were, because we were, and they just didn't show up on the competition. And I even won one competition on classical wrestling on maximum weight, because I was only one, because the wrestling guys didn't show up. So I just went up, and you know, you have to, by the judges, the laws, you know, have to go up to a ring. They call up guys, and nobody shows up, and you know, you're a winner, you know. So it was even that way. So, and wushu training was also, but it was very interesting, very different. It was very different. Shaolin Tzuan and Tai Chi Chuan, they did more like Tao, no, kata in karate language, you know, Japanese. But I didn't like that, so I did more like fight, like Shaolin Tzuan, you know. It's like full contact, you know, in wushu style, with wushu rules, but wushu technique, I mean. But we had also kind of going to courses sometime. I don't remember what name. Won Fado, I think it was new style. I don't even know which kind of. We went there. It was too easy for us, and they wanted to give us first belts already for first training, and we said no, it's too easy. It's not real, you know. So it's give you a sense of a martial arts in our country. Like, you couldn't get black belt if you didn't have won first place in your country. I couldn't get black belt, so I studied every because black belt the same like brown belt. It has all the same technique, but it's like a teacher's level. You know, you after some competitions you have to win the right to carry black belt. It's not a special technique addition to that. First level black belt, first dan. And you know, later dans in martial arts you already get for giving how to say, for improving and promoting the art, and not so much about technique anymore. You just practice the same technique better and better over and over. So it was just unlimited level technique. Some hit techniques or black belts they have, some on judo even. So they don't use in competitions, but black belt have to know how to punch like karate style and techniques against that. But it wasn't never used during training. It was forbidden by sports. And so in our little town, like 20,000 people, it was people were fanatically training also. Not in first years, when I was like 9 years old, 10 years old, I went just to dojo. But after, when we grew older and began having our hangouts with our team, not teammates, but our town judo guys and karate guys and wushu guys, they built everybody who had an option. They built with help of parents and help of you know, other guys, older guys maybe, or brothers. You know, they built in the under the buildings. I don't know, cellars, in the cellars. They cleaned up and made the training dojos. Not every, but we had like several dojos in even our little town. Secret ones, because it wasn't official. Everybody were training. Every free moment, everybody was training. As I said, it wasn't computerized. People were just training martial arts, at least in our town. Good guys, I mean. And we had ninja. We learned from books. It was rare, but we got some books, and sometimes some teachers showed us videos which weren't like big tape videos still all times, you know, bad quality, but things that you couldn't get anywhere in Soviet times, you know. So the shuriken, you know, the little stars, you shoot them, and some people were fanatically training these, you know. But you know, I always took the practical stance that but you can carry on. You can carry on your arms. So you know, you can't carry on everywhere your shurikens, and you can't carry on everywhere your nunchakus. And so I didn't practice them a lot. I little bit I tried, but it wasn't for me. So I practiced to my arms to be tough and speed, reaction. I had special techniques and. Later in the school, also for my students, we trained for speed, and now I skip back to after army. After army, in my own school, I teach them also in the town. So if you see somebody of our training guys, like 50 people altogether, so if you see somebody, don't pay attention on surroundings, go behind and touch him. And next training he has to pay for it with exercises, you know. So it was our little, like, not secret, but little training method that even when we after the training, after the dojo, we had to go out, we always had to watch the back, always be aware of what's going around. And if I see somebody approaching, attacking you, then we needed to be ready for attack any moment. And that was my way of training, not for sport, not for point. We didn't have, in my school, we didn't have any competitions, any at all, for diploma, no belts, nothing. I said I didn't use kimono, I didn't ask them to carry kimono. Some of them they did, but who had, but we didn't have to. So usual training pants and convenient, with no shoes, barefoot of course, and on tatami. And we used, not always, some years, some years I was able to rent the wrestling room with tatami, but another years they were already, somebody got before me, and we had already busy scheduled, so I had to rent with a wooden floor, and we did the same things on the wooden floor, all the rolls over and everything. Start slow, and after harder and harder and harder, you know. The point is that not to break yourself very fast, but you have to learn to do it on your own time. And I teach them guys that if you want to do practice also at home, in complete dark, with closed eyes, or if you have so dark room you can't see anything, then you don't have to close your eyes, but every city, you know, still some light coming in from windows. So I said, close your eyes, switch off window, switch off light, and do your training movements in complete darkness. But little by little you begin. You don't start just to break your furniture in a home, you know. So first slowly and after faster and faster, and to be aware of your environment even in complete darkness. And I did same kind of training before the army, and that helped me. That's probably my life there. And what else? I have still 4 minutes left, but let's not pull it to a maximum. If I recall the story I wanted to tell about the business, what happened, it was funny, just something related to mafia, and something to relate the style of culture in Soviet 90s. It was funny, but I don't have to tell all the stories, you know. It will get boring after a while, so you get the general sense. I just want to make interesting short movies, to not just to talk but also to promote my books. So if you read my books, you will find there interesting stories as well. It's not just only technical stuff that I write there. So just my books are all for free on to download, and I don't want to do it style like not many other video bloggers. They do that in every end of every video. They do a click on that and do that and do that. I don't do that. You will find yourself if you're interested where my books are. But anyway, let's end it that, and probably next video, if I don't find any good stories, but really would be interesting to know someone about my time back in my country, And Russia times, my travels I will have to tell yet, but I will probably also continue already when I escape my country and my struggle on now already over 20 years away from my country. And I started to tell about my sons, but I want to tell in 5 times I went to my country during these 20 years. Last time 5 years ago, I was able to see only one of my sons, the younger boy. He was already 17 at that time. I found him at school. I was able to see him for 5 minutes, and that's it. So you see, I'm not happy about my country. I had to leave my country again after a while, you know, every time, and sometimes very quick, after a few days only, because as soon as I showed up there, the police was showing up on my mother's place and on my sister's place to find me. So some my written articles about corruption in government back in old times, sometimes they still bother some people. Somebody still have a grudge on me, you know. It wasn't only because of you know, officially one problem is that paying to my kids, like my wife, ex-wife, but you know, I passed the court case. I don't have to anymore. That is the reason that I want to tell that right now anyway. But point is that every time I go back to my country, I have a trouble there. So I'm not planning to go back there anymore. So I've been arrested in airports several times, twice when I arrived. But I was left free because of probably because of my contacts. I found some contacts, some people to call to media, other countries, news media, and not to get very much attention. Probably I was left out very fast from prison without giving me any food there, without keeping me, just without presenting any even case against me. But that's how it can get if you fight against the corruption, you know. Some mafia guys, I mean, are better than the corrupt who doesn't have any mafia connections really, but who are just corrupt to a core and make life difficult to people who fight against the corruption in the government. But my real political life began after I escaped my country. Anyway, I'm repeating myself already, and the alarm goes off in a few seconds. I put it on off before, and that's it. I'll find what to talk next time.